Greetings, I'm Walter D. Kennedy, Chief of Heritage Operations for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and this is August 2021 Commander's Comment. And as usual, we're here with the Commander-in-Chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, Larry McClooney Jr. Larry,
thank you, Donnie.
good to
I
have
appreciate
you.
being here.
All right, we've got a lot of things to cover on. We want to try to do a two-part series, Commander. And the first part, let's talk about the upcoming burial of General Forrest and his wife, reburial of them. Can you give us a little update and information on that?
Sure. Right now, we're asking people to register for that event. Please register soon. You can go to www.scv.org to register, and it's free. It's basically a security pass, a ticket that you have to show, and it will cover the two-day event. Friday for visitation, and on Saturday the funeral itself. Now, that pass has to be shown to get on the property. And I suggest that if you're going to be there on Saturday to witness the funeral itself, come early. Bring a lawn chair. Bring water. It's still going to be summertime, and it's going to be hot because there's no shade, is it, Donnie?
Not much.
And if you want to go to the museum to buy gifts and so forth, there's an old saying, we don't sell trinkets at the gravesite. So it'll be a half hour after the funeral is over with before the museum will open up if you would like to go and buy SCV memorabilia and so forth like that. And there will be a few cockades in memory of General Forrest. Let's remember, people, this is a funeral. And as an educator, you always hear about the 3 R's. My 3 R's as your Commander-in-Chief, and as an educator, is respect, reverence, remembrance. Good. This is what this is all about, people.
That's great. Well, let me ask you a couple of questions now. I believe on Thursday, is General Forrest be at the Forrest?
On Thursday, the family is having visitation at General Forrest's boyhood home at Chapel Hill. Mm-hmm. That is something they wanted to do because the General has not been there since during the time of the war itself for recruiting and troopers and so forth. He will be, visitation will be there starting Thursday, and by 4 o'clock, visitation will be closed down, and the remains will be moved to another undisclosed location.
Now, will they need a pass to get in there, just like at Elm Springs?
If you have your pass from Elm Springs, that should get you there, but from my understanding, because we're not putting that on, the Forrest family is that they're allowing people to walk in.
Okay, good enough. All right, on your pass, I need to ask this question. I'm married. If I decide I want to go and my wife wants to be with me, do we get one pass for both of us? Do we have 2 separate passes? How about children, things of that nature?
There is no such thing as a group pass. Every individual person, no matter what age they are, have to be registered individually. There's a reason for this. It's called security. We are putting on a funeral here, people. It's not a political demonstration. It's not a I got you or anything like that. It's not, as my students would say, giving the finger to Memphis or something, another situation.
I understand.
No. Yeah. This is a funeral.
Absolutely.
And we do not want protesters or political demonstrations take place. If you don't have that pass, you will not be allowed on that property either Friday or Saturday. Please, people, get registered. Deadline is August 31st. And I'm telling you, if there's 6 people in the car and 5 of you got passes, one of you is going to get left out. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it's got to be. We got to look at the security of Elm Springs, the property, the museum, the integrity of the funeral.
And the visitors.
And visitors, yes.
One thing about it, I want to just, as you said, I want to reemphasize, this is a funeral. We're looking to be respectful, and we're looking at decorum in dress and how you act. So this is a funeral, so let's show respect, and I appreciate what you're saying there. Now, I'm sure we're going to have some leftist media wanting to show up for this event, and I'm sure they're going to be sticking microphones in everybody's face. What are we doing about that?
Actually, no media. No media will be allowed on the property. No media at all. In fact, during the visitation, we're asking people, remember it's a funeral now, no pictures.
Correct.
We will have a person documenting the event, Jamie Matthews of Matthews Productions. If you've seen the videos that I did as Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, if you've seen the new videos that the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears, has done, that is the person who will be videography and everything, and that will be placed on a CD where people can purchase that for camp meetings and so forth and so on.
Right. Well, that is wonderful. So the media has been told not to show up.
Correct.
So if the media shows up, we need to find someone to.
If anybody from the media, they may show up on the edge of our property. You can't stop them there. But I'm asking people that if the media does show up, that you point them to either myself or a member of the GEC, preferably me or Jason Boshears, the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, or even Adam Southern, our Executive Director. These are the people who need to speak for us. These are the people who are looking out for your interests and our interests and the integrity of this organization.
Right. And as you alluded to earlier, after the funeral, the museum will be open for people to visit.
Correct.
And to see the. Is there a charge to get into the museum?
The museum part itself will be closed Saturday, and if I remember correctly, Friday as well. The house will not be open up on Friday or Saturday. Now, the only part of the house that will be open is where the bodies will be laid in state, and people can go in through the front door of Elm Springs, and it'll be a single line. They'll go out the back door. But no tours, because so many people will be there. It's going to be almost impossible for the staff to do tours or to keep security in the museum. But the gift shop will be open.
Good. How about parking? Is there... Well, we got a
parking has been organized. We're asking people come through the old front gate of the property. Not the current new one where you go to the museum. Go to the old front gate that leads up to Elm Springs. Parking will be down there. There will be people organizing areas for parking and so forth.
Good. Well, that should pretty well take care of it. Other than the Forrest reburial, I know that we just recently returned from Kenner, Louisiana for our reunion there. We had a great event there. Could you kind of give us an overview of what went on in Greater Kenner and Medford area?
Yes, and you're right. It was a great event.
It was.
I've had nothing but positivity coming from that meeting. It was a very upbeat. Our members needed that. It was basically a sold-out reunion.
It was. We were crowded.
It was. It was packed.
And people were happy. Did you notice the happy?
People were happy. They were upbeat. They were very receptive. Notice there was no arguing.
Well, there's no elections going on either.
But we did have some very important business we had to deal with.
We did. We had some constitutional amendments.
We had some constitutional amendments. And usually people get to bickering about that. But it was a very upbeat, positive. And remember the slogan, if not us, who? If not now, when. Everybody was saying that in unison.
That was to me very encouraging to realize that we had 350, 400 members there, and they're beginning to grasp this idea. We have to do something. We are the ones who are going to, and we've got to do it now, or we're going to be so far behind the curve, I don't know we'd ever recover.
Remember, we discussed this, that we're the greatest Southern heritage, really the only true Southern heritage organization is out there on the front line fighting this. And we've got to come together. We've got to put our differences aside. We've got to come together as brothers. We've got to work together because we're on the front lines. These are the people that are looking at us, because let's remember, it's not just Southern history that we're defending. It's American history.
Absolutely. It's traditional American values, and being a Southerner, we're full of tradition. I did notice we had just like first and second floor just full of vendors. We had a lot of vendors there. Did you notice that?
Oh, yes. I noticed your table was busy.
Well, thank goodness Ron was there. 'Cause I was busy taking care of SCV stuff.
Well,
but
Victory
Ron-
Flags and More
Yes,
was there.
absolutely.
And from my understanding, they did pretty well as
Did.
there, since it's the first time they've gone to a reunion, did a
Right.
vendor. But all the vendors reported that sales were great. And I got a report on the road, on the way up here from headquarters, that they did somewhere like close to $16,000 in sales. And they said that's like a record for them, because the largest they've ever done is over 10,000.
Wow, that is absolutely marvelous. That's good. I enjoy the vendors. I make it to just about every vendor's table, at least to look and talk and see who's there. So that was interesting. Other than the vendors, now we did have a banquet a Saturday night, our banquet, and we gave some awards out, the Robert E. Lee Medal and the Jefferson Davis Medal in Chalice. Can you tell us a little about it? Because these are the two premier awards that the SCV gives out yearly. Can you tell us a little bit about, bring the membership up to date?
Well, for the first, to qualify for the Robert E. Lee Award, which is the second highest level award that we have in the SCV, you have to be nominated by your peers. And it has to be, when we say your peers, it has to be somebody on the GEC itself that knows your history. It's not like you're going to join the SCV and next year you're going to get the Robert E. Lee Award. This is for people who have dedicated a lot of their life to the organization, a lot of their time to the organization, sacrifices and so forth, and they're recognized for that. The Jeff Davis Chalice itself, the only way that you can get that is you have to be a recipient of the Robert E. Lee Award. And it's almost like, wouldn't you say, it's almost like a Lifetime Achievement Award in a sense?
In a sense, it is. Let's go back to the Robert E. Lee Award. We had, what, three each year? Three. Now,
Three.
I'm going to test your memory, old man.
Uh-oh.
Can you name the three that got
Kevin Stone of
Absolutely,
North Carolina, Dan McCaskill of Mississippi, and
Georgia?
Yep, Tim Pilgrim, the commander of Georgia.
Right. So we had three, and these gentlemen, and I can testify, I've been in the Sons of Confederate Veterans since, I think, 85 or 86. These three men are hard workers. They're dedicated people. Matter of fact, I didn't get the Jefferson Davis, the Robert E. Lee Medal until about, just a year or so ago. My brother beat me by almost 10 or 15 years. That shows who was doing the hard work.
Well, that tells you something right there, you know. Just because you get the Robert E. Lee Award does not mean that you're going to get the Jeff Davis Chalice Award next year or something.
The Jefferson Davis Chalice is something I was honored last year to get, and that was an honor that I don't think I'll ever, I can never admit to how much it meant to me. But this year we had a unique situation. Normally, the GEC, of course, is the one that votes on the Jefferson Davis Chalice, and normally we have the certificate, the medal, and the chalice itself, which is a beautiful, beautiful chalice. And most of the time, the commander-in-chief will sign the certificate and all. This time, somebody pulled a slick one, because the commander-in-chief signed a certificate, but that was not who got the chalice. Who was the gentleman that got the chalice this time?
I was shocked. It was me. They really caught me off guard on that one, and I just really had to work real hard to keep tears from coming to my eyes, because I was not expecting that at all.
It's always better when it's a total surprise, and so that was good. And the men who have gotten that deserve it, and you certainly deserve for all that you've done for this organization and for Southern Heritage. Your books that you write, your education that you perform every day, every year, teaching the truth about American history to everybody. So I was real pleased to be there and honored to watch you receive it. It was a blessing to all of us.
I appreciate it, Donnie.
Now, I could go on forever, but I'm not going to do so, because I'm not going to embarrass you anymore about pulling a slick one like that. So we're going to end part one of August's Commander's Comment, and we will be back to see you in part two of August's Commander's Comment.